Now, the air war over Iran is entering a critical phase. American aircraft are facing rising losses as the war completes the third week. And now even the F-35, one of the world's most advanced fighter jets, have come under threat. At least 16 U.S. military aircraft have been lost since the start of the war with Iran.
Good morning, friends. Let's break down a question that sounds almost impossible at first. How could Iran hit something like an F-35, one of the most advanced stealth fighters ever built? The answer is actually simpler than you think, because stealth doesn't mean invisible to everything. In modern warfare, air defenses usually rely on two main types of missiles: radar-guided and heat-seeking. The F-35 was designed to defeat radar. Its shape and special materials scatter radar waves so well that on enemy screens it can look as small as a bird, or sometimes disappear completely. That's why systems like the S-300 or S-400 struggle to track it at long range. But here's the catch. The F-35 still has something it can't hide: heat. At the heart of the jet is the powerful F-135 engine, and it produces an intense heat plume. That's where infrared systems come in. Instead of sending out signals like radar, these systems just watch, silently scanning the sky for heat. That means the pilot gets no warning in the usual way. No radar ping, no alert, just a hidden threat locking on passively. So when a heat-seeking missile is launched, everything turns into a race of physics. The missile locks onto that hot engine exhaust, and now the pilot has only seconds to react. The F-35 fights back using its distributed aperture system, 6 advanced infrared cameras giving a full 360-degree view. The moment the missile's rocket ignites, the system detects it and warns the pilot instantly. From there, it's pure survival. The pilot pulls hard, high-speed maneuvers while releasing flares, bright, burning decoys designed to trick the missile into chasing the wrong target. Sometimes it works perfectly. But if the missile gets too close, even without a direct hit, its proximity fuse can detonate nearby. That explosion sends fragments and shockwaves into the aircraft, damaging surfaces or systems. Not enough to destroy it, but enough to force an emergency landing. And that's the key point. Stealth is powerful, but it's not magic. Every system has strengths and vulnerabilities. The F-35 dominates in the radar world, but in the infrared world, the fight becomes much more real, much more dangerous. If you found this breakdown helpful, take a second to like and subscribe. Most people watching aren't subscribed, and your support really helps us bring more deep, simple explanations like this. But now let's talk about something you've probably heard of, but maybe never fully understood: flares. What are they really? These are not just random sparks thrown into the air. Flares are powerful pyrotechnic countermeasures made from metals like magnesium that burn insanely hot, often even hotter than the jet's own engine exhaust. And that's the trick. When a heat-seeking missile is chasing an aircraft, it's looking for the hottest thing in the sky. So the pilot releases flares to create multiple fake targets, trying to confuse the missile and pull it away from the jet. But here's where things get more serious. What if the missile isn't just reacting, but actually hunting? That's where systems like Iran's reported 358 come into the conversation. This isn't a typical missile. It's something in between a drone and a surface-to-air weapon, a loitering hunter. Instead of rushing straight to a target, it can fly slowly, patrol an area, even move in patterns like a figure-8, just waiting, watching, scanning the sky with infrared and optical sensors. The moment it detects a heat signature, it strikes. Now, imagine this combined with a ground-based infrared search and track network. No radar, no warning. Just a silent system feeding target data to an infrared-guided missile. In that kind of fight, the F-35's stealth advantage against radar becomes far less useful because the battle has shifted into the infrared spectrum entirely. And that's what makes this kind of threat so dangerous. It challenges the old belief that fifth-generation fighters can move freely without being touched. But here's the other side of the story. These systems are not perfect. Weapons like the 358 have limits. They're slower, they cover smaller areas, and they can't reach targets far outside their patrol zone. That means control of the skies still matters. And in operations like this, the U.S. didn't just rely on technology, they relied on overwhelming coordination. Even with much of Iran's air defense network damaged, the danger wasn't gone. Hidden systems like the S-300 could still be out there, waiting for one lucky shot. And for aircraft like the F-15 Strike Eagle, that one radar lock could mean disaster. That's why stealth jets like the F-35 are used first, to go in, survive, and clear the path. And to make it all happen, this wasn't just a local operation, it was massive. In the Arabian Sea, the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Group pushed in from the south and east. In the Mediterranean, the USS Gerald R. Ford stood ready. At the same time, Israeli jets crossed huge distances to reach their targets. And then came the most intense part: timing. Everything had to hit at the exact same moment. Missiles from sea, strikes from the air, coordinated across thousands of miles. A perfectly synchronized UDAR, designed to overwhelm defenses before they could even react. Because in modern warfare, it's not just about power, it's about precision, timing, and who can outthink the other side first. Now, here's where modern warfare turns into something almost unbelievable. Military planners use a tactic called time on target, and it's exactly what it sounds like, but on a level that feels almost impossible. Imagine missiles launching from submarines deep underwater, cruise missiles firing from ships hundreds of miles away, and stealth bombers dropping payloads from the sky. All of these are coming from completely different places at completely different times. But here's the genius. They are all calculated to hit their targets at the exact same second. Think about that for a moment. Every missile, every aircraft, every strike, perfectly synchronized. So when Israeli jets released their guided bombs over key locations, everything else hit at that exact same instant. Not seconds apart, not minutes apart, the same second. The goal? Total shock. Overwhelm the system so fast that there's no time to react, no time to recover. That's what shock and awe really means. But then the big question: why didn't the air defenses respond in time? Because this wasn't just a physical attack, it was a digital one too. The battlefield wasn't only in the sky, it was inside the systems. Using advanced electronic warfare and cyber operations, false data was injected directly into radar networks. Imagine being an operator, staring at your screen, and suddenly everything you see is wrong. Targets appearing where nothing exists, real threats disappearing completely. Confusion takes over. And then came the trap. Hundreds of decoys, small, smart drones, were launched to look exactly like real fighter jets on radar. To the defense systems, it looked like a massive wave of aircraft rushing in. Panic, misidentification, systems overwhelmed. And while all of that chaos was happening, the real threat slipped through. Stealth fighters moved in quietly, undetected, striking critical targets. In that moment, the air defense network didn't just fail, it collapsed under pressure. But the story doesn't end there, because even after taking heavy hits, the response came fast. Missiles and drones were launched back toward key locations, targeting bases and triggering widespread alerts. Air defenses lit up the skies with interceptions, turning the night into flashes of light and explosions. Entire regions went on high alert as systems activated to stop incoming threats. This is what modern warfare looks like now. It's not just about firepower, it's about timing, deception, and control of information. Whoever controls the data controls the battlefield. And if you're finding this breakdown powerful and easy to understand, make sure to like and subscribe, because we're going to keep bringing you real, clear explanations of the technology shaping today's conflicts. Now, here's the part that feels almost unbelievable. How did Israel manage to fly all the way to Iran and actually strike targets deep inside? This isn't just a short mission, it's a massive, high-risk operation. Early in the morning, multiple aircraft take off, but getting there is the real challenge. They can't just fly straight in. The region is packed with sensitive airspace, countries like Syria, Iraq, and Jordan, all with their own radars, defenses, and political risks. So every mile has to be planned, every turn calculated. The total distance to central Iran can stretch close to 1,000 miles one way. That means mid-air refueling, precise timing, and perfect coordination. One mistake and the entire mission could fail. And here's where the strategy gets even more intense. This wasn't just one attack, it was designed in waves. The first wave had one job: knock out the eyes and ears of the defense system. Radar sites, surface-to-air missile batteries, command centers, everything that could detect or respond. The second wave went after missile capabilities, targeting launch systems before they could be used. And the final wave focused on infrastructure, factories and facilities that support long-term military power. But the attack didn't even begin with pilots. It started from the sea. Out in the Persian Gulf and the northern Arabian Sea, destroyers received their orders. Within seconds, vertical launch systems opened and Tomahawk cruise missiles blasted into the sky. These missiles don't just fly high and fast, they stay low, hugging the terrain, almost invisible to radar. It's called nap of the earth flight. Silent, precise, deadly. Their targets? Advanced air defense systems and command bunkers. The goal was simple: blind the enemy, cut communication, and create chaos. And it worked. As those missiles struck, the entire defense network began to fracture. And right behind that chaos came the next phase. Stealth bombers, already in motion, slipped into the airspace. The B-2 Spirit, one of the most advanced aircraft ever built, moved in almost unseen. With defenses weakened, it could reach deep, heavily protected targets that other aircraft simply couldn't touch. Then came the pressure. From multiple directions, additional strike aircraft moved in, fast, heavily armed, and ready to hit what was left. At this point, the system wasn't just under attack, it was overwhelmed. And that's the real story here. This wasn't just about distance or firepower. It was about layers, timing, and precision. Every step designed to open the door for the next. Because in modern warfare, you don't just break through defenses, you dismantle them piece by piece until there's nothing left to stop you. Now comes the heavy hitters of the operation, the true workhorses of the mission. These are the F-15 Strike Eagles, often called the bomb trucks, and for good reason. Each jet is loaded to the limit with precision weapons, guided bombs and small-diameter bombs, capable of hitting multiple targets in a single run. While stealth bombers focus on deep, hardened bunkers, these F-15s are out hunting moving targets, the ones trying to escape. Using powerful onboard radar, they scan the terrain below, valleys, roads, hidden launch sites, searching for mobile missile launchers. Working in tight coordination, often in pairs, they strike fast. Convoys, hangars, backup command centers, nothing stays hidden for long. Every drop is calculated, every hit precise. But here's what makes the operation even more intense. They don't just strike once and leave. When they're low on fuel or out of weapons, they don't head home. Instead, they link up mid-air with tanker aircraft. In minutes, thousands of pounds of fuel are transferred while flying at high speed, high altitude. Then they turn around and go right back into the fight for another sortie. And just when you think the pressure couldn't increase, it does. Out at sea, massive aircraft carriers, floating air bases join the battle. As they turn into the wind, aircraft begin launching one after another, almost every half-minute. F-A-18 Super Hornets roar into the sky carrying anti-radiation missiles. Their mission is deadly and specific: hunt down any remaining radar systems. The moment an enemy radar switches on, it becomes a target. Right alongside them, F-35C stealth fighters push deeper into contested airspace. They gather intelligence, track high-value targets, and strike where older aircraft simply can't survive. And above it all, controlling the chaos, are the airborne command aircraft, the eyes in the sky. These planes manage everything, tracking hundreds of aircraft, coordinating movements, and ensuring that every piece of this massive operation works together perfectly. By sunrise, the impact is clear. The enemy's radar systems, their eyes, are gone. Key facilities, their core strength, have been hit. And their missile forces, their ability to strike back, have been severely weakened. This is what modern air warfare looks like. Not just power, but constant pressure, precision, and coordination across air, sea, and space. If you're enjoying these deep, easy-to-understand breakdowns, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what comes next, because the story doesn't end